Jason, as it is every single week, today's episode of Lee Summit Town Hall is brought to the good people by Budget Blinds of Lee Summit.
Budget Blinds!
Hey, you know, I feel like we just say this over and over and over again. But
well, I would know that's because they are our sponsor every week.
Well, and it has the added benefit of being true.
Well, that makes it easier to say because it's really, I would say the politics of the universe aside, it is really a challenge to lie all the time. So I'm glad that we get to say things that are true in our advertisements.
And the truth is, the folks at Budget Blinds are just good people, always doing good things for the community.
And here they go doing more good things in the month of August. So, Budget Blinds at 229 Southeast Main Street in downtown Lee Summit wants you to bring stuff to help out the families that are supported by Coldwater.
That's right. You are encouraged to head down to downtown Lee Summit on Friday night for the Fourth Friday Art Walk. Bring stuff for backpacks. They are stuffing backpacks for kids in the schools. We want you to bring paper, pencils, earbuds, folders, other school supplies.
And backpacks.
And backpacks even, so that Coldwater can distribute these to their network of families. This is just one more example of how the folks at Budget Blinds are doing some good work in the community, but how they are also asking for the help of this community. And Jason, I don't know how many times we can say this either, but this community rallies.
They do a great job. Coldwater, and we interviewed Coldwater, it was over a year ago, I think now, or a fair stretch ago, and they were working on towards their building a building. They are still in that process, and Budget Blinds, to help go towards that process, is donating $1 per blind sold this month in August to the Coldwater Building Fund as they work to construct their new facility.
So there you go, folks. Head on down there this Friday for the Fourth Friday Art Walk in downtown Lee Summit. And, hey, when you're shopping for some stuff for your home, go into Budget Blinds. Tell them Jason and Nick sent you. Jason, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's almost time. October. Look, fall is just around the corner. Do you know what happens in October?
I believe I know the word, and I want to say it.
I'm going to say it first.
Chili Fest. We'll call that a tie.
All right. Hey, Chili Fest, and you know what? Here's the theme: benefiting Coldwater of Lee Summit.
It absolutely is. Obviously, Coldwater Lee Summit is one of our area's fine nonprofits. Does a lot of good work, and this year the return of Chili Fest after a little hiatus, it is back. It's going to be here at Bridge Space. And besides, look, all the good stuff that it does, the money raised for charity, the cool event, let's be honest.
They get to celebrate us, me and you, Team Link to Lee Summit.
We're going to be cooking.
And we're going to be taking home some hardware.
We are confident in our capacity to take up some hardware, although it may be, like the last place chili competition.
Man, it's still hardware.
It's hardware.
Hey, so
a win
look,
is a win.
If you want to eat good chili and vote, or if you want to cook, if you want to try to take on us, the Link to Lee Summit team, this is your chance. It's Chili Fest. They've got 4 categories, Jason. They've got the competition chili. They've got home-style chili, salsa, and wings.
That is true. It's an absolutely great opportunity to do like a business team or an organizational team to do like team building, bring clients, entertain them with that. You can come, you can cook, you can put your logos on all stuff. Or, you know what? You can just come, buy yourself a spoon, and go around and enjoy all the good stuff that you and I, Nick, will be preparing.
That's right. So if you want to both support Coldwater of Lee Summit and celebrate the fantastic cooking of Jason and Nick, you need to be down at Chili Fest in Lee Summit on October 5th at Bridge Space in downtown Lee Summit. And for more information, visit bridgespace.us/chilifest. Hello and welcome to this Friday Conversation edition of the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast. My name is Nick Parker, and once again, I am ready to turn these microphones over to our guest hosts. This is the second of a 3-part series stemming from the Community Task Force on Youth Mental Health and Suicide Prevention. This group of 14 and 15-year-olds have stepped forward and pointed out that the growing community conversation on youth mental health has been missing one thing, and that is the perspective of actual youth. So, last week, this week, and next week, the microphones belong to them as they bring you candid conversations on mental health, technology, and life as a teen in our suburban community. If you have questions for this group or topics you'd like to hear more about, please message us through our Link to Lee Summit Facebook page or by email at nick@linktoleesummit.com. And now, before I turn it over this week to Rylee, Malorie, and Olivia, I'd like to give a big thank you to Lee Summit Cares, Rediscover Behavioral Health, and FirstStepForHelp.com for facilitating this and many other community-wide conversations on these topics, and for supporting Link to Lee Summit's efforts to give these teens a voice. Rylee, Malorie, Olivia, the microphones are yours.
I feel like a lot of people they act like they're not stressed and that they're fine, but if you actually talk about everything that you have to do in one day, it's pretty stressful.
Especially adults.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because, they have work.
Right.
We have school.
Right.
And, they're like, oh, well, I have to go to work. You only have school.
School.
It's
Have you been
stressful.
to high school?
Right.
It's stressful.
I feel like, because this is an audience for teens, I feel like we understand how stressful
Mm-hmm.
a day in a life can be, but I feel like it's, with TVs and movies and stuff, it's overhyped up about, oh, day in the life is so easy. We just go to school and then we go party.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Grab coffee in the morning with your friends.
who has
Yeah,
time to
no.
go party anyway?
We can't afford to get coffee every morning.
No.
Are you kidding me?
Do you know how much, I got a venti frappuccino from Starbucks this morning. It was $6.25.
That's
Exactly.
ridiculous.
I was
Exactly.
like, oh my gosh. I mean, it was amazing, but still, I don't have enough money to do that every day.
Right.
Yeah, and also everyone's day is so different. You know, you have some people who honestly
much.
still live on farms maybe and they have to go do their stuff, or you have
Work on the farm.
work on the farm, or you have inner kitty suburb kids who wake up and help get their siblings ready,
Right.
or go for a run. Or,
Right.
Oh my gosh,
Can't
nothing.
really.
I mean, don't I no.
Some
I'd
of our
rather-
friends do that.
And that's the thing; it's all different.
Yeah.
But we all have that one thing in common is school.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's homeschool or if it's
Public
school or no school.
We're like, hey, we get it.
Right.
It's not, we get that everybody's stressed. Very few people I know gets at least 8 hours of sleep.
Oh, yeah. No.
I'm lucky because I'm homeschooled, but when I was in public school, the max amount of sleep I'd probably get is 6.
Yeah, I would say that's...
I'd say that's average.
6.
I know someone who lives off of coffee and 30 minutes of sleep,
Yep.
so...
Me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's important to talk to our peers because we're all kind of disconnected because, we have, again, we're different. We're all different. And Lee Summit and other places like Lee Summit, we're kind of a bigger city.
I feel like
Right.
there's a lot of...
We're growing, for sure.
Especially with all the pressure that Lee Summit has to be, the best GPA.
Right.
That is so true.
All the high schools in Lee Summit just compete, it's so especially among, the students, because I went to elementary school at Cedar Creek. So most people that went to that elementary school went to West, and only, a handful of students went to North, and that's where I went. And so it was, really... So the people that I know that I went to, elementary school with, it's very, kind of... There's a rivalry, kind of, because I'm like, oh, yeah, North is, great. And they're like, oh, well, West is better. And I'm like, well... And so it's very competitive.
That's kind of... It is weird because during school, we have Friday night football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And West versus North.
That's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh. That was ridiculous.
Because I, number one, see people I know, and I hate that. I hate that.
You hate seeing people you know, or you hate going to those games?
Just the people I know from that go to
Yeah.
West.
It's just
Because then, rivalry.
Yeah, it's just weird how it can be taken so seriously, that rivalry.
I
said that.
like stealing the mascots. Where'd that go? I'd rather do that. Can't we just steal each other's mascots instead of having a big old mosh pit or something outside of
Yeah, no, it's just crazy because
in a vape thing? 4 times more nicotine than there is in a cigarette.
That's crazy.
It is
I don't
crazy.
feel like people understand that.
And the amount of people I know who do it.
Daily.
Yeah.
It's normal. And I'm just
It's one thing trying it.
right.
I feel like it's just become so normal that someone's like, oh, I tried it. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people who are like, oh, I tried it, I didn't like it. I'm like, good for you. You don't need
don't
it.
do
Don't do it.
Yeah, and people, like some of our friends, well, I wouldn't call them friends, but some people that we know.
All right.
Some people that we know have spent, like, a lot of money.
I do know
like,
someone who spent
buying-
$200
Gosh. I know
on a mod. Like, a big vape.
Because they have to pay 18-year-olds to go to the gas
mhm.
station
I
and
got-
get it for them.
I got so annoyed because this one person, everyone's like, oh, he's such a good kid. He's, like, doing so well in school. But he was also the top drug seller, and he was on the homecoming court. I was like, oh, my gosh, people.
Selling drugs is not that cool.
No, it's
Yeah.
not
But the
good.
interesting thing is we also know people who use it for stress relief.
That's
That's
scary.
true.
Whose parents actually bought them one.
That is
Who
true.
bought a Juul because she had migraines
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
helped,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. I was
Like,
like,
if it is...
because when you hear about vape, you're like, oh, God, the teenagers at it again, doing stuff they're
Yeah.
not supposed to. But then
there's
it's
people whose parents are like, it helps their...
yeah, it's kind of the whole
health.
thing. Yeah, because if you think about it, that's why people use medical marijuana, too.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, it's not a good thing. But then for other people, it's like a sometimes lifesaver.
Mm-hmm.
It's again that
Yeah.
That's
It's
another
crazy.
issue, too, that how much stress. I mean, I feel like we get that. How much stress.
Oh my God.
That's why we don't get any sleep. They're like, why
Right.
do you stay up all night? You must be go partying. I'm like, no, I'm doing homework.
Because your
Right.
mind's going a mile a minute, thinking, "Oh, did I do this? Did I do that? Do I need to do
Yeah,
this?"
I have to write everything down.
Oh my gosh.
Because I will forget.
I know one time I was sick, and it was probably, I want to say, middle of first quarter. And this was like one of the biggest reasons I left West, because I used to go there until about November, but I was so fed up with it.
Mm-hmm.
I was sick for a week with like 100-degree fevers and stuff like that. And I emailed my teachers, and they did not respond until I got on the bus that day. And they're like, oh, sorry, we gave you 0. And I literally had a panic attack on the bus
Mm-hmm.
because it was so terrible. They're like, they don't, I mean, I'm not saying all teachers don't care, but I'm saying they don't understand how much we stress about that stuff.
Yeah, they also don't understand. One of the big things that teachers say is, "Oh, it's only 2 pages of homework. It's fine."
It is
But
not.
But
you add that on top of another teacher giving you 3 or 1, and it just keeps piling up until you do have 3 hours of homework a night because
right, and then also like
Yeah.
whenever I get homework, a lot of people will just like ask others for answers, and it's not like I haven't done that, but like
I've
a
done
lot
that.
of people do that.
So much.
Like they're asking other people for answers, or they're like skimming through stuff, and then the next day in class, if you're like talking about the homework, you don't understand because you didn't get to like focus and actually try to do it. So then the next day you're just like lost.
Yeah, it's hard because I have been there. Like, I remember one time I had to stay late for a shift,
Mm-hmm.
and I got home and I had an assignment due at 10:59, not
Oh my
11:59. For some reason, it's 10:59,
Mm-hmm.
and I was stressing because I only had 6 minutes
Mm-hmm.
to get a 2-page essay done. I already had 1 page done,
Yeah.
but like I couldn't help it that I had to stay after work because I didn't get all my stuff done. That's the other thing, you have to balance this social life, work, and school,
Right.
and then somehow find time for yourself,
Right.
which is just
Yeah, when they're like,
a huge math equation.
Yeah.
I feel like what we get though is how much we pile on each other. And so when we go to help with like parents and counselors, they're like, oh, you just need to take some me time, take a step back from your curriculars. But it's like, Mike,
You can't.
You cannot not.
You
That is the
can't.
absolute worst thing you can do,
Because
is take a
then-
day off of school.
Right, because like I will go to school sick all the
Mhm.
time because there's no way that I'm missing all those classes, and because then that is so much you have to make up. I hate missing school.
Yeah.
I have a 98% rate in attendance.
Yeah.
The one day I missed was because I couldn't like move. I
Yeah.
was really, really sick. I had the flu, and I was doing as much as I could online. I printed out. I
Right,
had my
I always-
teachers email me the
Mhm.
sheets that we were doing, and I printed them out at my house.
Right, I always email my teachers, and I'm
Yeah.
like, please send me what we're doing because I don't want to miss it.
Yeah, because they're strict about
Mhm.
tests and quizzes, which is good. You
But
know, we
it's like-
need
yeah, and some teachers too are really good with like
understanding.
Giving you time.
Which is something that I wish more teachers would.
Right.
But then again, I understand they're underpaid, they're overworked. I get that. But also, we're overstressed, tired, hungry a lot.
I'm so
Yeah.
hungry.
We're teenagers.
I know. Right.
It's a weird time.
it is.
It is. I mean, you're laughing.
I mean, I guess the question that we'd have to ask ourselves is, what can we do to meet in the middle ground with teachers and students? Because everybody's stressed. No one's like, oh yeah, I'm carefree. I'm
Right.
just going to school, having a great time. No, everyone's like, I wish I were dead because it was terrible.
I think it's our curriculum.
Right.
It's forcing teachers to teach us
a
a
lot.
lot in the span of a long school year, and the thing is, the teachers don't like it. They don't like having to give us all this
Right,
homework.
because my English teacher this year would be like, sorry guys, it's in the curriculum, I have to do it.
Yep.
And she was like, I don't want to. But
Yeah, no teacher wants to see their students
Suffer.
suffer
right.
and come to school tired with bags under their eyes because they had to do. It's all about, because I think we're under state curriculum now. Like, it's all one. It's not like just divided. It's Missouri state curriculum. And it's not the same. Some schools are different. There are certain schools that aren't going to make it that far.
Right.
Because the way that their students don't think the same as everyone else. Again, black, white, but there's a lot of gray.
Right.
And it should be more about that school. We're not all going to freaking need to use the same things.
No.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different areas and, like, fields of work that people are going to go to in the future. And, like, the
chances of us using y equals mx plus
Right.
b in our future.
For
Oh my
some, the
gosh.
people who
Slope
like...
and percept.
Yeah, the people who like science and math and, like that's
I can't.
what they want to do in the future, then, yeah, they are going to use that. But the stuff I want to do in the future has nothing to do with, like...
I feel like even
any
though,
of that.
too, I have, like, my cousins, they live here in Lee Summit, and, like, they are engineers and stuff like that, where they actually use the math and science.
Right.
And I showed them my homework, and I'm like, how much of this do you actually use? And they're like, I've never seen this, and I've been an engineer for, like, 10 years.
Yeah.
Exactly, because they're trying to... That's the thing. The curriculum's trying to put all of this information into a 9-month period.
Yeah.
And it also sucks because whenever, like, I'm in math class or science class, I'm not motivated to do good in it at all. Besides, I want a, like, good GPA.
Yeah.
But that's the only motivator I have that I want to do good because I'm like, I'm never going to use this. It's pointless. And that doesn't make it, like, that mindset doesn't make it any easier.
Take a breath, because
Okay.
I'm stressed.
Today's episode of the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast is brought to the people by First Step for Help. This is a free service to meet the behavioral health needs of the community. They focus on the state of Missouri, but extend the reach across state lines to include the entire Kansas City metropolitan area. They have highly trained master's level clinicians who accept and handle calls from anyone who needs help. And Jason, this is a group that is ready for if you think you need help, if you think someone in your family needs help, if you think a friend needs help, anybody can call and they will help get things started.
Absolutely. It's always confidential. FirstStepForHelp.com is the 24-hour mental health crisis helpline by ComCare, which is a not-for-profit behavioral health management organization that works in collaboration with community behavioral health centers and other providers to continually improve access to affordable, high-quality, and effective behavioral health services. Their vision is a community where people are efficiently and effectively connected with high-quality behavioral health services supporting wellness and productivity for all.
So if you think you're in need of help or someone you know and love is in need of help, visit ComCare at comcare1.org or, very simply, firststepforhelp.com for community resources and a way to access an agency near you.
One stressor that I thought of was, I guess, not really like home life, but just like my family, I guess. And it's not like anything's wrong or anything. It's that I'm trying to like help my parents out, and I'm also trying to, like, I have a younger sister, so I'm like worried about her and worried about like what she's doing and everything, and I'm trying to help her with her homework because, you know, she's always like asking me, can you help me do this math homework or whatever. And then, like, my mom will be like, unload the dishwasher, and my dad will, like, need me to do something. And then I also know that they're stressed too. Like, I get that my parents are stressed, and I get my sister is stressed. So it's hard to, like, not take it out on them, because I'm like, okay, they're stressed, I don't want to add to that. So then it just stresses me out more, because I want to, like, help, but, like, I have my own things to do also. So it just all kind of builds up.
It's like you don't want to fail them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
That's
it.
one of the things for most people, not all. Family is like their backbone.
Yeah.
That's someone you can always rely on.
Right.
Some people it's different. Sometimes it's a mentor, mentee, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard knowing that you can't do anything sometimes. I have a little sister too, and I've seen the way that people her age talk to her, and it makes me mad, because I want to do something. I want to tell them to stop. And I have.
Me too. Yeah, I have to.
But it's just hard, because sometimes you just can't always fix it, and that just adds more stress, because you just want. I have a tendency to, like, want to make everyone happy.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
that's what makes me so stressed.
Yeah. So it's just hard, because, you know, you want to put yourself first too. You want to.
But I never do. I always put other people before myself.
Because you care about people, right? And it's hard, because seeing someone else that you love or care about, like, it's so hard to see that they're struggling, and you're like, you're gonna make it through this, but they're like,
How can I?
How can I? It's just not easy.
Yeah. Like, I've seen my sister, I always get home before her, and I've, like, seen her come in from school, like, crying, or come inside, like, crying or whatever, and then I'm just, like, I have to put what I'm doing on pause, and I have to, like, help her out, and then my parents get home, and it's just a whole thing, and that stresses me out.
Do you think it's hard also because, like, some parents constantly feel like your parents want you to do better than they did? Because I definitely feel that.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, my dad didn't go to college, and my mom's a nurse, so she went to, like, nursing school, but my dad didn't go to college, so he's really, like, pushing me to, like, do the A+ program, so I can get, like, just in case I don't get into, like, good schools, I can do community college for a couple years for free. And so he's really getting on me about that, and he also is getting on me about getting a job. You know that. Like, it's kind of a joke.
Every time I go to her house, he'll be like, how's Sonic going?
It's kind of a joke, also kind of not. And so I feel like I just have a lot of pressure to, like, do really well, and that's not good.
I feel like I'm the opposite, though, because you guys said you're, like, worried about them putting the expectation on you, but I personally, my parents are like, take a breath, because I put all that on myself, and they're like, we're not telling you you're failing, we're telling you keep up the good work, because you're putting that on yourself, and we're saying, yeah, we did good. I mean, my dad didn't. He got a 1.9 GPA. No joke. He told me this story one time, how he bribed his mail lady with brownies so that he could change his report card.
Oh.
It was hilarious. And he didn't get caught for, like, a whole year.
That's funny.
That is amazing.
And it's like,
now it's all online.
Oh my
Power
gosh.
school.
it's fine. But they found out eventually, and
Yeah.
he would
Yeah.
just, like, he would just mess with people all through high school. He said he barely learned anything, and now he works for the FBI. So he's like, so he's like, school isn't everything.
It's
and
not.
I see that you put a lot
My
of pressure
dad's
on
doing
yourself with school, and I failed high school. Like, he's like, I have no idea how I passed.
Yeah, see, that's like my dad. So he, right out of high school, he had a child.
So did mine.
Yep, with Chris, his girlfriend at the time. And he went to some college, but then ended up not being able to afford it because diapers cost a lot.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted to make sure that his daughter had a good life. So he was like, I will make sure I have a job. That's more important than me getting an education. Now he's, like, high up at a company that's based out of Bend, Oregon, and he gets to travel around the freaking world. He went to, like, Singapore 2 or 3 weeks ago, France a month before that. And so I don't feel a lot of pressure academically from him all the time. Sometimes I do, trust me. But he just tries to remind me, like, high school is about having fun.
Mhm.
You know, this is 4 years of your life where you're in between the sippy cup and the solo cup.
Right.
And
That is accurate.
it's true. Like, you know, you get to just kind of be a kid,
Uh-huh.
but with more responsibility.
Right.
It's a weird
Yeah.
time.
more independence.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like you get to be an adult, but with like training wheels.
Right.
The weirdest age is 13, 14, 15.
Oh my gosh.
My sister is about
You-
to turn 13, and I'm worried.
You want to drive, but you can't. You have to have a parent in the car.
Mhm.
You want to get a job, but you're a little too
you
young.
can't get a ride.
You got that last growth spurt going.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
Like, it's weird.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
so weird. But
It is.
it's also so much fun because it's your first
Mhm.
year of high school.
Is it
And
though?
I mean, not for everyone. It's just good knowing you started it. You started it,
Right.
you're in it. You know,
You're not like I hated middle school.
it's weird.
I did not like middle school. So once I got to high school, I was like, thank you, because I did not want to be in middle school anymore.
I
Yeah.
personally loved middle school because it was so laid back. I feel like there was still stress like high school, but compared
Mhm.
to the stress from middle school to now, I feel like it went up
Mhm.
a lot.
The stress did go up, but I feel like I've found myself more
Mhm.
because
Middle school is just a weird time.
middle school.
Everyone has braces and everyone's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
holding hands is dating.
Yeah,
No,
That's
it's
literally.
not, guys.
And it was just,
Literally.
I don't know, it was a weird time.
It was.
Because I wanted to be popular.
Mm-hmm.
In 7th grade, I was popular
Yeah.
because I knew a lot of people. I was friends with a lot of these people.
Yeah.
But I took a step back whenever I was starting high school, and I was like, these people aren't cool.
Mm-mm.
They're not nice to everyone.
Mm-mm.
And then you kind of realize you're put into that crowd of, oh, if they're mean, you're mean too.
Right. Like, you're mean by
Yeah.
association.
And, you know, I was friends with people who thought that the things I like were weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to middle school, and I'm now,
You mean high school?
You know.
now I'm in
Yeah.
high school,
Yeah.
and I've realized, oh, I have, like, people who also like the same things as
Yeah.
me. Or I'm online, and I'm like, oh, these people
Mhm.
like the same things as me. So that's kind of the good thing about high school is you find mutuals. Like, there's more clubs.
Right.
Yeah.
And you realize that in a huge school like that, there's going to be people who are like you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're unique. Everyone's unique.
Mhm.
But, you know, topics that you like.
Like similar people.
Similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just, it was a big sigh of relief whenever I could finally kind of, like, take a step back and then be in high school,
Mm-hmm.
people that I like to hang out with, and being able to talk about things that I like without feeling judged.
Right, and I like high school so much more than middle school also is because, like you said, in middle school I feel like I surrounded myself with like a lot of people, but I didn't have like really core good friends, and now in high school it's a lot easier for me to like figure out who's actually a friend and who's just like not good.
I feel like I was on the other side of the table. I was the nerd who always got picked on. I actually did get
Mhm.
shoved in a locker once. No joke.
Oh my gosh.
And then, like, I'd get tripped when I had a broken foot.
Oh.
Like, it was terrible.
That's
but I just
horrible.
had so much fun in middle school because I didn't care what other people thought about me. And I know
Right.
that's not a big popular thing to be like, yeah, you know what? I don't care what you say. Kick me. Actually, please don't. That kind of hurts. But
That's a good mindset.
Right, it is.
I was just like, you know what? These people are going to make fun of me, but I'm just going to take like the next 10 seconds. Take it 10 seconds at a time until I
Mhm.
can get to be like a breath of fresh air.
Right.
I wish people could understand that. Like, because I literally ask her, I don't care what people think about
No.
me. I've had so many people be like, oh, you support this or you do that. I don't care. You know what? I'm me.
Mhm.
I'm fine being myself. I like being myself.
Mhm.
And people do have issues with that. Whatever. And I wish people in our schools would realize that it's okay to be yourself and it's okay for other people to be themselves. High school is a time where we are growing up and we're kind of growing into ourselves.
Mhm.
We're not fully what we're going to be whenever we're 30, but
Mm-mm.
we're getting those like things,
Mm-hmm.
you know, kind of realizing. And I wish people would just stop like denying people that right to be themselves, because I would really hope that everyone could do that now rather than later.
I just feel like some people want everybody just to like be the same.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I don't get it.
I can't be you. I can't have the pretty blonde hair and the high heels. I trip. I'm clumsy. I've literally tripped on my own 2 feet.
Same.
I can't be the person who's like, I don't know, I feel like even the stereotype now is like it's cool to not be cool, but then it's like that's a stereotype of your own, because if everybody's not cool, then I don't know, I just think of the syndrome thing from The Incredibles when they're like, when everybody's super and nobody's super.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll pull movie references and stuff a lot, but
Let's just keep referencing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah. What do you think, like, being cool is now?
I feel like there is no cool,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
a lot of
I agree.
I feel like a lot of teens are stupid.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Yep.
So it was cool to eat Tide Pods. Come on, guys.
That was so
Oh my
weird.
God, common sense.
That was
God, the
so
trends
weird.
that we have had growing up. The clowns, the Tide
That was
Pods.
crazy.
The
Both of those.
slime.
fidget spinners.
Yeah,
the
fidget
fidget
spinners.
Woo, woo, woo. I
Just-
couldn't.
It's so weird.
Just
So
so
weird.
interesting. God, what are we going to be like when we grow up?
It scares me because the same people who are eating Tide Pods are the next voters for our 2020 election.
Exactly.
Yeah, that.
I think about that a lot.
I know.
I'm like, I think about
And like people want to lower the voting age, and I'm like,
Please don't.
please
We're
don't.
dumb.
We're so like
yeah.
a lot of people
There was,
that our age don't even like.
Yeah. There was a petition for Mickey Mouse to be president.
That's not even.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Wasn't the one for Oprah?
Yeah, Oprah said she might run. I think she changed her mind, but
I think she changed her mind.
I would change my
I would
mind.
change my mind.
President is not something I could do.
Right.
Senate,
Ah.
I would do that.
I could.
I wouldn't make it, but I would like to do that.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
What was scary is I saw someone literally comment on the Mickey Mouse president thing and said, Mickey Mouse, please be a benevolent ruler. So
Oh,
I was like, what is wrong with our generation?
They want that, but they know how to use that word below. That defines our generation.
it really
It's-
does.
We're so smart. Like,
we can be so intelligent, but then
But we choose not to be.
we choose not to be.
like we're the generation of knowledge. That's what we've been told. And I feel like we're all very smart in just different things. And
Right.
people put ourselves down if we're not smart in the same things. But
Right.
it's okay to not be smart in the same things. And I feel like our generation especially will put each other down for that. But we're all smart. We're probably one of the smartest generations.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have so much at our fingertips.
Are
We
you-
have so much information. Thing is, we don't do it much with that information
No.
sometimes. You know, like how we talk about how we're not going to live half our lives if we don't stop polluting or putting CO2 into the atmosphere.
Mhm.
We have the information.
We don't do anything.
We don't do
with it.
anything
We don't
about
do
it, though.
anything.
Like,
No.
we have these scientists saying,
Fix it.
Fix it. We have Greta Thunberg, like, saying, listen up.
Yeah, fix it.
Fix it. And we are doing it's hard for us as teenagers.
Yeah.
It is so hard, but now we do have platforms
Right.
like this where we get to talk and
Exactly.
explain like our opinions and our values and what we think should happen.
Mhm.
It's just so
Yeah.
cool.
I think like it's something where we take it for granted. How many
Yeah.
times have you seen someone roll their eyes when they're like, back in my day?
Yeah. Literally.
You just rolled your eyes. That
Yeah.
literally proves my point.
Exactly.
Back in my day.
yeah.
Like, I don't think we realize that our cell phones have more information and power than the rocket that took the astronauts to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
That's just something we take for granted. Like, I
Mhm.
don't think about that when I text my friends, good morning, how are you? My
Yeah.
parents, like, joke all the time about their cell phones having cords. And I'm like, ha, you're so old. But in all reality, it's something we don't think about. So in, like, 20 years, we're going to be saying, back in my day, these iPhones had buttons.
Yeah.
And
They
Yeah.
already don't have buttons.
I don't have a button. But like that, we're on the fast track
Yeah.
for technology.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I feel like people are focusing more on things like, you know,
popularity and
rather than bigger issues.
Mhm.
Like
I just-
on a local level and on a worldly level.
Right.
Like, okay, cool. I'm not bashing anyone who's like super like rights for certain things, but there's people who care more about certain issues not as pressing as the environment, like something about a television not having enough people of color in the cast,
Yeah.
and they spend 2 weeks like Twitter feuding about it.
I think Twitter feuds
it's an
don't do
issue.
much.
It's an issue,
Who
right?
doesn't like do that?
Yeah.
Though? I mean, someone's got to release something, and
Yeah.
I feel like
Everybody's not ever happy with like one thing. Like there's always going to be somebody
Yeah.
who's.
See, that's what I'm saying. So Booksmart,
Uh-huh.
amazing movie.
I loved it.
LGBTQ characters, good storyline, and it was brilliantly directed by Olivia Wilde. Okay, and people were complaining.
It was
that,
also very funny.
Yeah, it was very, very funny. People were complaining that it wasn't colorful enough. Okay, but okay, you have to understand this is a woman directing a film that got 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
that's pretty good.
Very good.
And one of the main people is gay. And it goes through her trying to figure out a relationship with another girl in high school. That is
That's
amazing.
representation.
It's representation. There were people of color in the movie, but some people just don't think it's enough. And yes, it can be an issue. But also, we have to realize, okay, if we don't stop polluting, we're not going to make it to half of our lives. That seems more of an issue. Not saying that isn't. And I'm not trying to belittle anything.
Right.
But people need to realize that there's way bigger things that need to be talked about.
Yeah. I just hope whenever our generation can vote and are adults and can do things, that they pay attention to the problems that we need to start.
I mean, to
paying attention
piggyback
to.
on what you said about the movie is, I feel like people know, because like you said, we fast track, we progress in leaps and strides, and I feel like sometimes we just need to learn we can't always get instant gratification. I mean, how many times have we been like, oh, this episode isn't loading fast enough, or my phone isn't loading out here very well? Just take a step back and be like, wow, we got a lot of issues, like even locally, like the school curriculum.
Oh my gosh.
I know the group of us teens and stuff, we went to the district and we're like, hey, these are some issues, and even they were like, I know, we see the issues, we see you that you have issues, but we can't really do anything, it's all out of our hands. But whose hands is it really in then? Because I mean, I've gone to the Capitol and we've talked about like the drug issues with them, and they're like, it's out of my hands. So whose hands do we need to talk to, I guess?
They just want to keep going to more, like, different people. They don't want it to be on them.
That's fair.
Which is interesting.
Everybody says their hands are tied.
Okay. One of the things I find stressful is growing up in an age where almost all of society has an opinion about us growing up.
That's so
About
true.
what we're going to do when we grow up, about how we're going to be the ones to save the planet, or the ones who are going to fail to save the planet.
Right.
That is absolutely terrifying to think about. To think that we have all this pressure on our shoulders because we're only 15, 14, 16, and we're already hearing from adults
We're the next generation.
that you're the
Right.
generation that's going to end this. And it's just a constantly feeling like we have to live up to that. Like, if not, we're going to fail. But then we also have to remember our generation's politically very active
Right.
now.
Because like a lot of teenagers today have platforms now
Yeah.
where you
and
can talk.
the 2016 election, like that, like
Oh my gosh.
everything, like
We're
that opened the
still
door.
Aftershocks from that, I feel like, today.
Oh, well,
Oh,
yeah.
For sure.
And I just think it's a lot of stress thinking that one day I'm going to turn 18, I'm going to be able to vote. And that if I vote wrong, or if I'm at my job and I can't vote because I'm working and I didn't take the day. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's just a constant feeling like you're going to let literally your generation down.
Right.
Because, there's only so much you can do. But I just feel like celebrities now, they're like, oh, we can do better than our generation. That's like a constant thing I hear,
Yeah.
is people older saying, do better than our generation. Be the one who ends transphobia.
I mean,
It's hard to do.
Yeah. And I feel like they're like, your generation do this and this and this, and I'm just like, why didn't your generation
didn't
do
you?
it?
Like, what stopped you from doing it?
Exactly.
Oh, well, I got famous. So that makes you an even bigger platform
It
to
does.
express your opinion. It's not to, like, shut anybody down who's,
Right.
like, doing that. You do you, but I feel like that's where it's like, we can't change everybody's minds. If we could do that, then
Exactly.
that would be communism. And even then, I don't think everybody agrees.
No.
No one can agree on everything.
Yeah,
Except,
exactly.
I mean, even if someone's like, we need to stop global warming, I've literally seen a tweet from Donald Trump saying, you need more global warming. Like, oh my gosh.
Well, and there's people who don't believe it exists, and there's people. That's the thing. Cool, America, we have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom. We have freedom.
Right.
That also means that it's going to be very diverse opinions.
Right.
Their Washington Post, I told you
Oh
I got
my
like 9
gosh.
notifications.
Yeah.
Washington Post said Europe traveling agencies are telling LGBTQ members from Europe to be careful when they travel to the United States because it's safe in some places, but there's also a fear that if they're caught holding hands with their significant other, they could get beat up or something. And it's just so interesting because you have, like, Lee Summit. I highly doubt anything like that. I pray that nothing like that would happen here. But then, there are some places where it could happen.
Right.
And it's just so interesting to me how we're just that diverse and how that our generation's going to be probably that diverse.
Right, and it's hard for, like you're saying, how the generation above is like, do this and this and this. Like, our generation can barely all agree on one thing. So I don't know
Exactly.
how we're all going to come together to end this thing or fix this problem.
Because we have something so prominent and so real and frightening as global warming, and we still have kids our age who are like,
Whatever.
no,
Like-
I don't think so.
It's going to be your life, so,
Like, we just need to realize we need to come together.
Right.
Like, just look at the facts, look at this, like, literally, open your eyes and see we have to do something about this. And I don't care what race, what age, what your sexuality is.
we just need to come
This
together.
is just something basic that we need to realize is a huge issue. And I just hope that whenever we grow up, people realize that we need to come together despite our differences.
Right.
For the greater good.
I feel like that's difficult too because some people could be like, well, that's not an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times has someone used, like, power gunning out? Wait, no, that's not a good example. And I didn't even grammar.
That's kind of like what I said. People, like, I'm more of a big picture, big issue person. I don't look at super tiny things like, this TV show didn't use the right pronoun. It's bad. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's just the English teachers because, honestly, I just start laughing. I'm like, this is our society. We say words like eat and ain't. I've heard that. And, oh my gosh.
But, like, it's hard because our generation, we have a lot of opinions. We easily get offended sometimes. Not always. But sometimes we do get offended easily.
Yeah.
But we need to just kind of realize that we need to just stop caring so much about the little things. But also, don't stop being passionate about stuff. Because something that isn't a big deal to me is big to someone else. That's just how it is. That's how it's always been. That's how it's going to be. But issues like, climate change and, like, women's rights and stuff like that, stuff that's going to affect majority of people, if not all people, like, that's something that needs to be more talked about rather than Alabama not showing that Arthur episode where 2 men got married.
Oh, yeah.
That
I
is
remember
weird,
that.
though, that they didn't want to show
Yeah.
that. And children cannot be exposed to that.
They
are
are,
you kidding
though.
me?
Look outside. But I
Yeah,
feel like-
literally. That's just the world.
I feel like just because we don't agree on something doesn't mean we can't change it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a big issue is religion. I mean, I believe in religion, and I have a religion and the faith in that. And if someone doesn't agree with me and they're like, oh, God's not real, then, I mean, I will disagree with you, but I'm not going to get in a fight over it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the thing is, people sometimes are like, oh, well, I don't like pepperoni on pizza.
Mm-hmm.
That's an
pineapple? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
That's an opinion. But whenever someone starts discriminating against someone for something that they can't change, like their race, sexuality, that's just not right. That's not an opinion. That's just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't just say, well, it's my opinion that I don't like black people.
Mm-hmm.
That's not,
Yeah.
no.
What'd they ever do to you?
It's not an opinion. That's not an opinion. That's
Exactly.
discriminatory.
It is, yeah.
And that's just not right.
Right.
And shouldn't be socially accepted.
Mm-hmm.
We want to fix it, but it's just knowing that it's not only our generation, it's legitimately everyone,
Mm-hmm.
like, wanting us to fix this. And it's just really, really hard to think that one day we're going to have to face it. Because right now, we're working on it. You know, we have the Fridays climate strikes, you know, for change. Like, that's awesome. But, I don't know. It's just a lot. And we like that everyone cares now. It just kind of sucks that it's us who have to deal with it.
Today's episode of the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast is brought to you by Shred KC. I want to take a minute here to I want to promote a podcast. The Shred team, they have a podcast called Shred. I know, it's a surprise.
Wow. Wow.
It's hosted by Shred owner Ryan Waters and Lee Summit resident Aaron Simpson, who happens to own a few Anytime Fitness gyms. It's a pretty good show, Jason. They're about 35, 36 episodes in.
So they're probably hitting their stride.
They are starting to hit their stride. They offer a lot of tips and advice for people who want to change their lifestyle, to live a little healthier, to whether it's you're losing weight, you want to gain strength, whatever it is. They've got some tips for you, and it's turned out really well.
So they do it in the same fashion that the fine folks at Shred we've talked about many times, and how they have handled your fitness journey as well as any others.
Yeah, it's very supportive and informative. You know, some of the recent episodes they've talked about explaining supplements, so that you kind of know what that game is. Because there are, I don't know if you've ever walked into that section of a store or to a supplement store. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there are a lot
to
of
look
letters
at-
and
to
stuff.
look at. So they've had success stories on there, some guests to talk about what they've done. We do a mailbag episode with them every once in a while where they have me on and I get to read them questions from listeners and they answer those. So it's very, very interactive. It's a good show. Catch the Shred podcast on any of your favorite podcast apps. You have been listening to Lee Summit Town Hall, a Link to Lee Summit podcast with hosts Nick Parker and Jason Norberry. A proud member of the Fredcast Network, you can subscribe to this podcast on most of your favorite podcast apps and catch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for all the news, analysis, and conversations on the Lee Summit community. Connect with us on Facebook at Link to Lee Summit or on Twitter at LS Town Hall.